I wanted to ask about the issue of racism and the Hebrew Israelites, because I've been confused about that, and I'm like, where did I come from? You know?
Okay. All right. Uh, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, racism, which is dealing with race. When you look at the word race, it's almost like you're running a race, and then you have what people are considering, different types of people. And racism was something that was concocted or created by way of competition, and for one race to think that they're better than the other. And so, really, we as Musbatu or Sabians of Wu-Sabat, we don't really deal with racism. We're about uniting. And this goes back into the whole thing with these beings that came from the Aldebaran star constellation, which, as I said before, they were in contact with Hitler. They were blonde hair, blue eye beings, and they're the ones that created what we're calling the Adamites, which later the on the planet, the main races, like based on what scientists or anthropologists have classified people to say, that initially it was black and white, or they were looking at the white race as being superior, based on this thing with these Pleiadians who were blonde hair, blue eyes, and they got Hitler to try and create what they call a supreme Aryan race. In terms of the Hebrew Israelites, because they follow a lot of the King James version of the Bible, and because when you start to do the research, and during the during the like the civil rights, during the times where the slavery was taking place, and blacks, so-called blacks, were not allowed to, they were looked at as being less than human, and the word ham was, they were misinterpreting the curse in the Bible as black people being cursed, but when you read it, it actually says it wasn't Ham, it was going to be Canaan, cursed be Canaan, but Canaan is a son of Ham, and Ham means black. So they got it wrong. It was actually the curse of leprosy, which deals with the the recessive genes of not having to produce melanin. So, till this day, there's been a lot of racism because the black and white thing, but that was just something set again by some of these extraterrestrials to have people fight against each other. So the Hebrew Israelites recognizing all these words like Cush, Ethiopia, Ham, some of the other ones I can't probably remember, they all mean black, because the origins of the Bible is dealing with these Anunnaki and them mixing with the original African beings who were the first on the planet. So now, scientifically, when people start to search and look at that in terms of genetics, that what they're calling the Negroid is more superior in terms of melanin production. Even when you look at the sports, the music, basically everything on the planet, they excel. And so people like, Hebrew Israelites and certain, remember this comes from by way of religion. A lot of religion causes divisions. And so they've got that ego thing of being superior. And, I saw videos on YouTube, even in America, where, the way they treat other people in the streets. Yeah, so we, even by way of the Nation of Islam, where it came to this whole thing with, like looking at the nature of what they call a white man, even though there is no such thing as a white man or a black man, this is what I'm saying, that it's a social construct to have people fighting against each other. And in the old schools when we were teaching that, but if you look at the nature of a person, when they do wickedness, evil, and even till today now, when we're coming back to what we're talking about, where, with the executive orders that somebody asked about earlier on, how some people have called aliens and all these divisions. Like somebody would take water, the seas, and divide them up when there's no divisions in the sea, and say this is the Red Sea, which was originally called the Reed Sea, and this is the Atlantic, and this is the this, and divide up the land and divide up resources, and say some people can have this and some, and it's, the racism is all a part of religion as well. That's where it really originated from. So we as Wu-Sabat, we have the, you know, the slogan, no one wins the race in racism, because racism doesn't actually help anybody. And so we're about coming together, uniting on truth. And if you're someone that accepts Wu-Sabat and you're willing to learn the truth, everyone is welcome. So yeah, we don't really deal with religion. Is there somebody else waiting?